Today on Steve Rob Reviews, we're going to have some fun. We're going to turn a sow's ear into a silk purse. And here we go right here. Now this is just a greasy old piece of pine that I'm going to turn into, well, not quite a silk purse, but it's going to be a useful, kind of a stereo stand. I got this old boom box from way back 20 years ago, and I need to put a shelf on the wall up at my camp for that particular long stereo. And I'm going to show you how I do it. It's going to be very easy. It's going to be very heavy duty. And let's take a look at a picture I took in the springtime when I was up there. And let's see what the purpose of this is. This is my garage, a small little shop I have up north, and it's 20 feet long by 12 feet wide, and I had to rearrange everything so I could fit my Kubota tractor in, and I could fit my ATV, and I could also now bring up my MTD Gold lawn tractor. So I had to rearrange a lot of things to make everything fit. And if we take a look right here, this is where the main thing that I had to move was that yellow workbench. Now it used to be further up, halfway up the garage, and that prevented me from parking the tractor and the ATV beside each other. Now if you take a look on the far left hand side there where the white panels are, well, that's where I had the wood stove. So I had to take the wood stove out of there. Now if we take a look over on the far right hand side, you can just barely see an electrical outlet, and there's plugged into it, and there's two extension cords hanging out. Well, I want to take the stereo that's on my workbench that takes up way too much room and bring it over here on the right hand side, right where the three studs are. And that's the whole idea of this project. Well, there's a couple of things going on here. You could see I have to cut this section off here. I'm going to put a 45-degree miter on there, same as this one here. I'm going to take the belt sander and just kind of round it off a little bit. But we got to use a little bit of math. So if you're building, like take for instance when I built that garage, the studs are 16-inch on center. So that means you have to, okay, here we go. You have to actually go over 3/4 of an inch this way. You have to go right out the end, 3/4 of an inch, because, well, that's going to be the outside of the framing stud. And as we come along here, well, here's the 16-inch mark right there, right here, and we got to come over to 32. Now when you come over to 32 inches, well, guess what? You got to go over 3/4 of an inch to the outside of the stud as well. And that's where, well, we're going to hang some chain. And that's the chain right there. I'll take the board up and I'll show you what's underneath there and how this is going to go together. First thing you notice is I just ripped myself an old piece of pine that I had here, and I'm just going to screw that in, and that'll go on the back side. And then we have these pieces here. I have no idea where they're from, but I save all kinds of scrap pieces of stuff. And we're going to use these two carriage bolts in concert with these pieces here. And you can see I'm just going to use these construction screws to hold the chain up on the stud. And the other end will come and attach here. So let's get to it right now. Okay, let's just cut the end here for the proper length. Now let's just cut one of the 45-degree angles. Now let's just cut the other angle. Well, let's just use the belt sander and round off the corners. Okay, I'll do the other one, I'll bring you back. Well, all I've done here is just drilled some holes, And you can see the board underneath is a little bit longer, but that's fine. I'm not going to bother cutting it, just leave it like that. I'll just start this one right there. Go to the end. There you go. And that provides a lot of clamping force with these screws with the big head. And the last one. Okay, now we're going to work on them brackets. Well, you can see that bracket there, and I just used a spacer, the same on the other side. And I'm just putting in these two little screws. And that'll just be used just to hold that plate in there. Now I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole through here, and the same on the other end. Well, let's just drill the hole, and this is just a little bit bigger bit than the carriage bolts I have. Okay, I'll drill out the other side and I'll bring you back. Well, there we go right there. Is that a masterpiece or what? So we got the hole drilled on that side, we got the hole drilled on this side, and I've got a can, about a half a can left of this white paint, and I'm just going to fire it right on there. And when I run out of paint, well, that's it. Because you know what? I'm never going to use this white paint again. So I'm just going to burn it up right on this right now. I'll bring it back when this is finished painting. Well, here we go. I threw the paint on. Took about an hour and a half for it to dry. So I got the carriage bolts coming up from the bottom. 2 washers underneath here. 1 washer there. And pretty much the same on the other side. Okay, so 2 things most people are probably wondering. Okay, so I just used bolt cutters to cut the chain. And how long did I figure out the chain should be? Well, let's tighten up these 2 here first, and then on the back side I'm going to show you the marks that I have to actually put 3 screws into the corresponding studs on the wall up at my garage. So let's get to that right now. So an impact driver is the best, and we're just going to zip them in. Let's see here. That's it. And they're just flush here, and that's all I want. So that's all I did right there, is just put my big square on there and measure it right to the top, and it's 19 links. And you could see that from here to here and up is more than 3.5 inches for a stud. So this will actually go up on just a nice enough angle, and then I'll put my wood screw with the washer on the back side through, and that will hold it in there no problem. Well, you can see the 3 marks here. This is right at 0, 16 inch, and 32. So it'll fit them studs exactly. And you see how you want to make sure that at least you can fit your drill in there, or your impact driver to drive the screws in. So let's just put the 3 holes in here. There, now I'm going to show you the screws that I use. Okay, so here are the screws right here, except these are 3 1/4, and of course I'm not going to use 3 1/4. I've got some 2 inch on the way, so I'll be going with the 2 inch, but you can see they're a nice beefy construction screw, and this is never going to move in a million years, so I'm going to only go with about a 2 inch screw. This is a 3/4 inch board, so that'll be plenty strong. Well, what do you think? She's all done, and this is it. Now, of course, you know, it's not pretty, right? I don't do pretty, guys. And this is pretty much here the way it is. It ended up like this. I'll give you a little bit of a closer look there how that went on. And that is going to hold that up no problem at all. And here's the back side of it. You know what? This is an hour to do out in the shop. A very easy project I think anybody could do. And for the most part, this is going to last me the rest of my life, I guarantee you. Now, what I didn't mention so far is this is the front side. So what I'll be doing is, they have these magnets, really, really strong magnets. They're about this long. You can screw them to the bottom here, and then I can just hang some tools off there. And that'd be ideal as well, because you got to utilize all the space that you have, especially when it's a small space like that. So thanks for joining me here today. And well, that's not a silk purse, but it's real close to it, isn't it? And you know, I had a lot of fun doing it, and I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I have, you know, showing you. But all it is something that's functional and it works for me, because I have to put that stereo in the middle of the garage like that on the wall, because sometimes I like to take it right outside by the extension cord, put it on the lawn, and just go like, you know, Merle Haggard and Johnny Cash, full blast. Thanks for joining me here today. If you haven't seen this channel before, you're welcome to subscribe. Come back again for some more projects like this in the future. Cheers.